is Joseph F., middle initial, Donnermeyer. I'm a professor emeritus in the School of Environment and Natural Resources at The Ohio State University, which is located in Columbus, Ohio. Ohio itself is a state in the Midwestern region of the United States. And I recently retired from teaching at Ohio State. So I'm in a period of transition where what I used to do frequently, which is teach as a retired professor, I now will transition out of and begin to focus on criminology books that I hope I have the energy and the desire, the enthusiasm to complete. First of all, I happen to be a fan of both heavy metal and classical music, so you will find me listening to Aaron Copland and Ralph Vaughan Williams at the same time as I listen to Led Zeppelin and maybe Black Sabbath. So I guess that's eclectic. In terms of books I've read, right now I'm reading one on the rise and fall of ancient Egypt by a historian named Toby Wilkerson, and it starts in about 3000 BC and goes all the way up to the demise of Cleopatra. A very interesting book, including estimates of the labor time to build a pyramid and things like that. So it's very factual rather than of a different type. And then the other book I'm reading on with my criminology hat on is there's a book by Pamela Wilcox, Francis Cullen, and Ben Feldmeyer on theory, and it's called Communities in Crime. And I'm reading that specifically because I'm moving toward attempting to write a book on crime and place that would revise place-based theory. At this point in my career, because I've been doing this kind of work now for nearly 40 years, is to see the rural criminology community grow, not only in size, but more importantly, grow internationally. That is even more international than it already is. And comparative to a lot of other subfields in criminology, I think it's doing quite well in that regard. But it still needs more because I believe I value mentoring, and I think there are a lot of isolated scholars in different parts of the world that would be interested in doing more rural crime and criminal justice research if they had better connections and they were better networked. So I'm really interested in that from one point of view. And then of course, the other thing is that I want to see, and I want to encourage myself, more development of rural-based theory. Some of it will be based on mainstream theories, but some of it, in fact, will be a critique and a revision of those mainstream theories. I think the key issue right now in rural criminology is that we lack the ability to compare our research and our findings. The literature is simply far too scattered. And so the effort of creating an encyclopedia and of creating a library of prior rural publications, which are scattered about, and some, frankly, are lost. That is, we don't know where they are and how did we pull them up from old journals, is what we really need to do, because the need is to build the intellectual infrastructure of rural criminology for the next generation of scholars. Now, if I could wave a magic wand, which I would define as I won the lottery, I would hire about 1,000 scholars to get involved in rural work, and I would divvy them up this way. I would divvy up about 100 of them to develop various, what I would call middle range theories that have a rural basis. I would probably find another 100 who would scour everywhere to build up that article and book chapter infrastructure for encyclopedias and for a comprehensive library. I would hire another 400 to do quantitative research in any area where a research question can be identified. And then I would hire 400 researchers who would do qualitative research on the exact same topics. And so if I could harness 1,000 scholars, those would be the initiatives that I think rural criminology needs to take. We need not only more theory, but we need a lot more research, because no matter how large our group is today and how fast we've grown, we're still relatively small, not only compared to the size of some groups in mainstream criminology, but we're actually, and more importantly, very small because of the number of issues that need to be addressed, both theoretically and empirically.